Hey, happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining us for your noon forecast. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and today we're talking about that risk that we saw yesterday shifting to the east. All hazards are once again possible here, not only that tornado risk, but also that large hail and high wind risk as well. I said today, I think the largest hail size that we could see could be up to tennis ball sized hail, anywhere from Des Moines to Detroit. We have another round of storms tomorrow as well, so don't let this be the last forecast that you see. We have another round of storms for your Wednesday. Hey, before we get started here, I do want to mention our next event. We are going to be at the Texas Roofing Conference from September 11th through the 13th. Now, we do have an exclusive deal for those people that are at the show. Come to our booth. It'll be booth 140. See Frank, and he can get you set up with that exclusive deal for all of our annual plans. That's always a fun conference, so we hope to see you there. Okay, taking a look at yesterday's storm reports, you can see that we saw a ton of reports across northern Nebraska, southern Dakota here for hail, large hail, very, very impressive 4-inch hail sizes in northern Nebraska. Very, very impressive hail here. That was the biggest, the largest hailstone that we saw yesterday. Other than that, we saw some pretty strong wind speeds that were coming into Minneapolis yesterday. Initially, this storm weakened before it reached the city, but then strengthened as it was going through the city. Take a look at this video right here. This is in the western side of Minneapolis. You can see that's a pretty big sized tree that got knocked over. And if you give this video just a minute, we zoom back the other way. This was posted on Twitter, by the way, by someone at JTillyPGA. It'll zoom back the other way, and you can see the lamp post fall down and then a tree fall down on top of it. So really, really impressive video. If you want to see that full size, we've reposted that on our Twitter page. It's also on our TikTok, Instagram, and I think YouTube page as well. Either way, yep, that was in Minneapolis yesterday. The biggest thing that they saw was that high wind. These storms continued to track to the east as we headed through the overnight hours. Here we are, 1:45 in the morning. But Minneapolis was not done. We had a second round of storms in this area as we headed into the very, very early hours. These did not look as strong as the first round of storms, however, still bringing some pretty strong wind speeds to this area. Yesterday, we did have a 2-star map. I don't usually show the 2-star maps. Usually they're not terribly interesting. However, we saw some pretty impressive things yesterday, so I wanted to show this map today. Of course, we already talked about that hail in northern Nebraska up to the size of a grapefruit, absolutely massive hail there. But then we also saw some hail, tons of hail out in the East Coast in the afternoon hours. This is your map from Connecticut. We saw a ton of hail in this area as well. Yesterday, those impacted by 1-inch hail or higher, over 100,000. So, you know, for a 2-star day, it's pretty impressive. Alrighty, let's move to your wind map here. The headline's wrong here. So it was not a 4-star day yesterday that I know of. Minneapolis, really the big place that we saw that wind yesterday. As I mentioned earlier, we've already seen that damage in Minneapolis. I've been looking at videos all morning long that show damage, mainly trees down, but I know they also had a ton of power outages. And even this morning, I double-checked the power outages this morning, still over 100,000 people without power this morning. So still a lot of people impacted. Alrighty, let's take a look at your current conditions. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the video here, but comment where you're watching from. Are you watching down here in Oklahoma, where it's a hot day today, but we're expecting cooler temperatures this weekend? Are you watching up in places like Milwaukee that is dealing with some severe weather right now? Let me know where you're watching from. Okay, current conditions. You can see that we've got some activity up in the Midwest. We are pretty dry with that high pressure system out to the east. Florida, a little bit drier than what we usually see this time of day. Got a few showers out on the west coast, but really what we're watching for is, of course, those storms up in the Midwest. You can even see that they have a severe thunderstorm watch right now. Current temperatures, as I just mentioned, pretty warm here in Oklahoma City, 87, 89 in Dallas, a little bit warmer the farther east that you go, 91 in Kansas City, 90 degrees in Atlanta. And there's that severe thunderstorm warning. There, right there. You can barely see it. It's coming into Milwaukee right now, right here. Coming out of Fort Atkinson, tracking to the east into the southern side of Milwaukee. But we still have storms that are tracking to the east here. As we head into the next hour, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in place right now. Moving back to those temperatures, 87 here in Oklahoma City, as I mentioned, 88 in Fort Worth. Not terrible, still really hot out there. Factor in the humidity and it feels even worse. 94 is what it feels like in Dallas right now. Do we have a triple digit on the board? I see St. Louis, Shreveport, and down in Florida, all feeling like 100 or higher right now. So some of us are dealing with that heat. Others, the storms. You can see the exact area that we are watching for storms today. Man, this does a really good job of pinpointing exactly where to watch. Okay, here is your forecasted instability. You can see as those storms go up later on this evening and into the late night hours, we use up a lot of that instability. One of the things that you'll notice about storms today is they last farther into the overnight hours. So this will be a system that we're still dealing with as you get in bed this evening. Make sure that you have several ways to get those weather alerts because we will have storms, especially in places anywhere from like Chicago to Cleveland through the late night hours and overnight hours tonight. Your significant hail model, some of the areas for largest hailstones, anywhere from the Great Lakes out to the Midwest and even up the northern Mississippi Valley here into Iowa and into northern Missouri. I do want to get right into that forecast though. Come on. Taking its sweet time here. This is actually something that we've been watching. As we head into the overnight hours tonight, look, this is 3 a.m. We could still see that risk for hail and severe weather. Mainly wind will be a very, very big impact for these storms overnight tonight. But look, it's 3 a.m. and we still have that severe risk on the board here. It's just shifted a little bit farther to the south. As I mentioned earlier, Chicago to Cleveland. And here's a look at your future radar. So what we're expecting here are those showers and storms to stretch anywhere from Kansas just to the north of Wichita, all the way up to the Midwest. Isolated at first, but becoming a little bit more scattered and widespread as we head into the late night hours tonight and into the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. As you see, we're becoming a little bit more widespread up in Michigan, and that's continuing into the early morning hours into Cleveland by early tomorrow morning, probably impacting your morning commute. Let's really zoom down and take a look at this here. I have your timing, I have the exact hazards that you need to be watching for here. Isolated storms expected in Kansas as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, anywhere between about 3 to 8 o'clock, right through the central and eastern portions of the state. It's going to be marginally severe, 1-inch size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Not too much to worry about there. Of course, you don't want to be out in this. As we head into the later night hours, 5 p.m. to midnight, you're going to see more storms start to stretch farther up to the east and up to the north. So Kansas City, I have you between 5 p.m. and midnight. I did up the hail size a little bit here, but the wind speed's anywhere between about 60 to 70 miles an hour. As we head into the even later into the night, right? So 4 p.m., 11 o'clock, anywhere from northern Missouri up to Iowa, into northern Louisiana or Illinois, excuse me, and into Wisconsin, we're going to see those showers and storms continue. So again, 4 p.m. to 11 o'clock. I did up the wind speed on this here, so 70-mile-per-hour winds or greater are possible, and those hail sizes 1.5 inches or greater. You can see exactly where the front is. You can see exactly where we're watching for those storms as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Michigan, that's where we're going to be watching as you're getting in bed tonight, as you are kind of winding down for the evening. Anywhere between about 9 p.m. into the overnight hours, we're going to see pretty widespread scattered showers and storms across Michigan. This is going to continue farther down to the south into Cleveland by the early morning hours tomorrow morning. And there you go, your morning commute. Those storms are coming right into the city. So if you have any friends out in Cleveland, let them know they need to take a little bit of extra time on their morning commute tomorrow because it'll probably be raining pretty hard, if not the other severe hazards with that as well, some small hail and high wind speeds. Taking a look at that forecast, I do have the hail forecast not only for hail sizes on the smaller side today, but a lower risk for hail today. I think our big hail day was yesterday. Grapefruit size hail, can't beat that. That's what we got yesterday. For today, Kansas City, I think you could see some pretty small hail, just about the size of a quarter. Chicago, I have you in a pretty low risk. I think the wind risk is going to be a bit higher for most of these areas. I think we're going to see some pretty strong winds once again, but we could see some very isolated tennis ball sized hail. I think that's not out of the question. It will be isolated. Not a ton of people will be getting that. Okay, taking a look at the wind forecast, again, I think this will be the greater risk for today. I think we could see up to 70 to maybe even 80 mile per hour wind speeds with this today. And then a better chance right along the Midwest, anywhere from Chicago over to Detroit. Alrighty, moving on to what we can see. Oh, your tornado risk. I almost forgot about that. Tornado risk in the Midwest, anywhere from Michigan all the way out to Wisconsin and portions of northern Illinois. It's a low risk, but it's still on the board, so it's still something that you need to take seriously. Okay, now looking ahead to tomorrow, you can see that Wednesday we have another chance for showers and storms. That risk shifts off to the east just a bit, but we also have another risk farther back to the west along the northern plains once again. I do have a hail map for that, so we're going to progress here into the hail map. There you go. It looks like we could see some, I have it right at a quarter, an inch size hail, the size of a quarter, up to the north. However, I think the northern plains, we could see that go just a little bit higher, and then your other risk for hail will be farther down to the south. Basically what we're going to see are those storms that come into Cleveland continuing to stretch to the south as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening hours. So yeah, it's going to be an active weather week. We saw those storms yesterday, today, tomorrow, and it even looks like Thursday may have another storm risk as well. Taking a look at your future temperatures. Temperatures are in the mid-90s. For tomorrow here in Oklahoma City, we still have the 90s throughout the the southeast. As we head into Thursday as well, a little bit cooler farther up to the north. That'll be really nice. But wait until you see those temperatures on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday here in Oklahoma. Temperatures top out in the 80s on Friday. That is going to feel so nice, especially for everyone headed to the OU game. We have the 80s once again on Saturday, 80s on Sunday, and low 80s on Monday. And speaking of the football forecast, I'm so excited to get back into OU sports. Now we do have, I would have put just fantastic weather. I would have put us in the green, but we do have a pretty low chance for some showers and storms right at kickoff. So I think it could be a rainy Friday for some of us, but those showers and storms should let up as we head into the evening hours. So right at kickoff, maybe a bit afterwards, we should see those showers and storms let up. Clouds still kind of lingering around by halftime as temperatures drop down into the 70s. Yes, 70s for a game in August. Sounds amazing. That's what we get for playing on a Friday night, right? The big story here, I do want you to be aware of that rain that should be wrapping up Friday evening. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We usually track the tropics right now, but once again, there is nothing going on in the tropics. It's very, very quiet. We should see more activity over the next few days, so of course we'll keep you updated on that. We did post a ton from last night's storms on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, specifically Twitter and TikTok. So go follow us over there. And if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, give us a call at 855-334-4245, email us at info@hailtrace.com, or head over to our website, hailtrace.com. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow.